Hey, glad you could make it. Gather around, all you boys and girls. I'd like to tell you a story. In fact, I want to share a story on how a trip to Las Vegas changed my life. And I think you may get some value out of it. Now, really quick, I am in a pretty swanky hotel right now. I'm in the Cosmopolitan. So let me show you this room, okay? So here's where I'm at. Here's kind of what it looks like in the living room area. It's pretty cool. Some interesting artwork. And we got like a walk-in shower, meets a tub down this way. But let me show you this. This is what I want to show you. This is the view I want to show you before we get into the story. Look at this view. Isn't that a nice view? It is so cool. So cool. So let me tell this story. All right, so before I get into the story, let me just paint a quick picture. So this morning, here's how my day started. Room service knocks on the door. They come and they don't just bring the food, but they bring the food on this table. Like they rolled in a whole table and they had all of the dishes. It was like a 3-course meal. They had the coffee and the actual half and half. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I'm like at a restaurant right now. Breakfast was delicious. Last night, we went to some dinner with a live show and they had like the burlesque and tap dancers and some beatboxer and singer and the music. It was just top notch. And we did some kind of a tasting, like this eating tasting. We taste like an assortment of like the chef's best dishes and they're bringing out food. They're carting out food. They're asking me, what kind of drinks do you want? And it's just like on the house, unlimited, right? And they're bringing out all these dishes, right? I took pictures of the stuff. I really did. It was delicious. But guess what? I had no clue what I was eating. I know some of it was caviar and it was like stuff with leaves or whatnot. And I was like, yo, I am so uncultured. I don't know any of this stuff, but I feel real fancy, right? And it was just an amazing experience hanging out with great people, okay? So I'm here in Las Vegas for a mastermind event. I do a lot of digital marketing, like online marketing type stuff, building software and creating how-to digital marketing courses for entrepreneurs. And we meet a couple times a year for an event like this. And we just get together and, the phrase iron sharpens iron. So we go over a lot of business tactics and things to help each other grow. Really good time. So we're out at dinner. They're bringing out these fancy dishes and whatnot. And it's just amazing. So then we go to this kind of like rooftop bar, this outside club, and there's a pool up there and all the cabanas. And so we get in there and it's amazing. Is first off, like it looks phenomenal. And the Kanye West Good Life song comes on, welcome to the good life. You know what I'm talking about, right? And at that moment, it just kind of brought me back. And I was like, wow, welcome to the good life, right? Because I remember there was a time when life wasn't as good as it was last night. And it wasn't as good as me being able to get some 3-4 course meal with, food rolled out to my hotel room and stay in a nice place and to be able to do dinners and shows and not worry about money. I remember a time when that wasn't the case. Let me take you back for a moment. So it was 2012, okay? It's been almost 8 years since I've been to Las Vegas. Now, where I was at that time, I've been married 3 years at this moment. I was working a job that I really didn't like. It wasn't making me enough money. I was still about $40,000 to $50,000 in credit card debt. And I was kind of living this life of like quiet desperation. Like things were starting to get better because I had just started my business. I'd probably started my consulting business maybe a year, if that, in. Now, the reason why this was such a historic moment for my life is we went to Las Vegas as a 3-year late honeymoon. Yes, this guy didn't take his wife on a honeymoon for 3 years. Why? I was broke. So we planned this trip, right, in 2012. As soon as you get the tax money in the beginning of the year, I planned this trip. And, as Murphy's Law would have it, this happened, this broke, this situation occurred, and I didn't have the money. So for a year now, I had started to help local businesses with a concept with text message marketing, like to help drive customers in the door. And at that time, I was buying all these digital marketing courses, just, how to make money, how to do this strategy, because I was in grind mode. I was in hustle mode. I was trying to make something happen, right? And I had this thought, and I was like, what if I build a course and I create one of these how-to manuals and I make some money too, right? That was the thought. But the thing is, I had no clue how to make a digital course. I had no clue how to sell anything online. So what I did, I just Googled it. I was like, how to make a digital course. And I found some stuff, and, I kind of pieced it together, duct tape something. I found out that, hey, I want to build one of these upsell things. Like, if you like that, I'll give you 2 more for the price of 1. And it's like, okay, I need to build one of those upsell things, right? So I figured it out, right? Now, the morning of the flight that we were leaving to go on this 3-year late honeymoon to Las Vegas, 8 years ago, 2012, I probably had maybe a few $100s in my pocket in my bank account. And my wife didn't know it, but we were about to have a budget trip in Vegas. And I was like, we'll be fine, right? We'll hit up the buffet. I had a strategy, y'all. I had a strategy. So we're sitting, waiting for the plane, at the terminal. And I had just launched the course. I put it on this online place, like the platform to sell your stuff. I put this 26-page ebook on how to do text messaging on this platform for people to buy courses. I had no clue it was going to work. I was like, whatever. I might not even get a sale, but I just wanted to do it. And I downloaded the PayPal app the night before as well, right? Just to see if I make any sales. So we're sitting there, and I hear a notification, ping. I was like, what is that? And it says like $7.04. And I was like, huh, interesting. And then ping, another ping. I was like, what is that? It was like $7.46. I was like, this is weird. So I looked at my wife and I said, hey, Caroline, something's wrong with this app. I was like, it's broke. And I just turned it off, right? So we get on the plane, the trip is about 4.5, 5 hours. We get there, we get to the hotel, we get our stuff situated. I sit on the bed and I turn my phone back on because I had an airplane mode. And I see all these notifications like $7, $8, $10, $23, $15. Like, what the heck is this? So I go and I log into the Wi-Fi. I lift up my laptop and it's like, boom. It's like $5,000 is in my account. And I was like, how? And my course had started just selling. It started taking off. And here I am in my mind thinking, we're going to be on a budget. And I looked to my wife and say, hey, kind of stood up, poked my chest out a little bit. And I was like, hey, baby, deep in my voice, you can get whatever you want. She's like, for real? So we had the best, and I'm talking about the best time ever. And this was the first glimpse. Like, I got a taste of what it means to live from a place that is not governed by money. Like, think about if the actions and the things that you do every single day are not governed by money. See, a lot of people say money means nothing to them and money's not everything, but it's yet the reason most people work. It's the reason most stress happens. It's the reason most divorce happens. Is money is instrumental, and it's just the way that you look at it. This is the first time that some dude with no business experience started a business, launched a course, and the first time ever that I wasn't in survival mode, but I was thriving. It was the first time I ever had a sense of what freedom looks like, to be able to have total control over your life and your experiences and your finances. And it was just a taste, but it was enough to kind of get me hooked and say, man, maybe life can be this blissful. Maybe this can be a possibility. So I remember going in Caesar's Palace, and in this place they have all the shops and the boutique stores, and we go up to this one place and like there's a bag, like a purse, and it's like $3,000. It's like, who would pay for this stuff? We go in this men's clothing store because I really love fashion, and I see like a pair of shoes that would be like $60 somewhere, and it's like $795. I'm like, you crazy. But then I was like, but these stores are here. Somebody's buying this stuff. And I was like, I want to shop in one of these places one day. I want to shop in one of these places one day. But so we have a great time. We see the Blue Man Group. We do a lot of fun stuff. And it was just amazing, right? Great trip. So that course went on to do about, I think about $14,000, and about half of it I got in profit. So as high as this roller coaster I was on, and it was just the best time ever. Like slowly I kind of hit this low, and I was anxious and I was a little bit scared, maybe wondering like why after the coming off the best time of your life. And it was because I didn't know how I did it. I didn't know how I won. I didn't know how I succeeded. I kind of got lucky, but I got a taste of what freedom is. I got a taste of the good life. So it really motivated me. It did something inside me. It just kind of awoken the giant, so to speak. And I committed to just figuring it out, right? Just figuring it out. And that's what I did. And I kept the main thing the main thing. And 8 years later, we've been able to build a business that has retired my wife from her job, that allows us to homeschool our kids, that allow us to travel the world, to allow us to have total freedom over our time, my money, and our experiences. And it all came from just focusing and being intentional on what you actually want for your life. So I share this with you because I know there's a lot of people out there that have so many aspirations and dreams. And it's almost like you're living this life of quiet desperation because life can be better. Life can be blissful, right? But how do you take your dreams and your aspirations and the things that really mean a lot to you, that you want to do one day, you want to travel somewhere? How do you take all of that ambition you got and turn it into reality, right? And that's a question that plagues a lot of people. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to help you get to your promised land a lot faster, to get to the desired life that you envision for your life. How do you actually do that? So let's take it from a different perspective. And the thing that I found that has helped me get to where I'm at today, just 8 years, from having nothing, so to speak, to really thriving and living from a place of abundance. Like, how did that happen? And I got one word for you, and that word is clarity. And what I mean by that is we're going to need to get crystal clear with specificity as to exactly what you want for your life. And the question that I'm going to pose to you is, what level of life do you want to live? And we're talking about getting clear. What level of life do you want to live? When you can envision your most ideal life, you can envision things are exactly the way you wanted them to be, as if you were able to design everything. What level of life are you now living? How do you spend your days? What are you doing? What does life look like for you? And I just want you to think about that. If you could kind of paint the brush, because that's what we need to do. So what we have to do is we got to get crystal clear. And the easiest way to break this down so you get clear about what you want for your life is we're going to break this down into 3 areas. Okay? Now, before I tell you these 3 areas, let me tell you why this is so important. Because we're constantly bombarded with things that take our attention. Social media's main objective is to take your attention and to keep your attention. We may have family, we may have kids, we may have a chaotic job. And these are things that take the lion's share of our time. So the very thing that we neglect the most is ourselves. So majority of people are walking through life and they're only reacting to the thing and the stimuli, the distraction, what's in front of them. But when's the last time you actually ask yourself, what do I want for my life specifically? What level of life do I want to live? What level of life do I deserve to live? And exactly how am I spending my days? So we got to get really, really clear, and you have to take the time to focus on yourself. So this exercise is about focusing on you and getting really clear. So let's go back to these 3 areas I mentioned that we can break this down to get this clarity. Number 1 is be. Who do you need to be in order to achieve your ideal life? Who do you need to become? Because the thing is, if we're talking about going from where we're at to where we want to be, our promised land, when the sun is shining and it's an oasis and everything is beautiful, there's a gap. We got to be able to close that gap somehow. And Oftentimes, there's internal changes that need to happen. There may be external skill sets that you need to gain, whether it's gaining new skill sets as far as going back to school or getting that certification, right? There's things that need to happen in order to become, as an example, when I got really clear as to what I wanted for my life, which was freedom. I wanted to be able to control my time, my finances, and my experiences. I knew the only way to be able to achieve that, guess what? Is through entrepreneurship. I had to become a business owner. I had to cross the line, to cross the chasm there as far as employee to entrepreneur. Now, I had no clue how to be an entrepreneur. So I had, in order to become that which I need to be, that fosters my main goal, my main desire, what I want, I had to get skill sets to learn how to step into that role. So I started going to conferences. I started reading books. I went and got the education that allowed me to get there. So who do you want to be? Because there will be a change that needs to occur. What skill sets does that require? All right, number two, do. What would you like to do now that you're at this promised land of yours, your oasis, when the sun is shining, everything's exactly how you envision? Like, what are you now doing? How are you spending your days? Maybe you started a charity and that's how you spend your time. Maybe you're volunteering now. Maybe the doing for you is you would like to travel more. Where are you traveling to? So let me tell you what this exercise forces you to do. It forces you to think past where you're currently at into the future. Because in order to get to where you're going, again, going from where you're at to where you want to be, this is distance you got to cover. These are hurdles and challenges that you got to overcome, right? But you still have to live from this place, even though you're not here and maybe your position is still here. You have to live from the place that you want, because there's the only way you're ever the only way you'll ever, got tongue tied, the only way you'll ever be able to get to where you want to go, your promised land, is you have to live mentally from that place. Now, the only way you can live mentally from a place is you have to get extremely clear, and that is what we're doing. So live from that place. Do not judge the thought, because we're talking about designing your life, because this is about you, my friend. And your life does matter. And your life is extremely important. So let's get clear. So you know what you got to do in the B category. So the do is, how are you spending your days? What does it look like? Do you want to travel more? Okay, we got that. The third thing is have. And I want you to think more physical, more materialistic. So what would you like to have now that your life is at this level? Maybe I'd like to have X amount of dollars in the bank. You know, maybe I want to have a 10,000 square foot house. Maybe I like to have a yacht. Maybe I like to, what do you want to have? So I want you to allow yourself to think, what are you driving now, right? Where are you living, right? What does that house actually look like? And on each one of these areas, I want you to even go deeper than that. Whatever you put down, go one more level. Don't just say, I want to make more money. How much money do you need to make, right? Because what we're going to do after we get all those areas down, it's kind of like getting the thought out. Just get the thought out. Don't judge the thought, okay? It's like you're putting mud on a wall and you're putting all these pieces on the wall. That's a better analogy. And we're going to organize them now. So the next day, I want you to come back to this, okay? This is an iterative process, so it's going to probably take you a couple of days, maybe 3 days. But this is something that we're getting very, very intentional on. So you know what you want to be, you want to do, what you want to have. Now, how to make sense of this to bring order to it? So what we do is we need to go back to each one of those areas that you wrote down with the thought that you did not judge. Allow yourself to go there, okay? And we're going to ask the question, why? Why is this important to you? Why is it important for you to become an entrepreneur? Why is it important to you to get this degree? Why is it important to you to become a doctor? Why is this important to you? I want you to prod your own thoughts. I want you to interrogate yourself. And I want you to, almost like a Venn diagram, right? You're just going to write points down each one of those areas. Oh, quick pause. So room service just came. They rolled out a whole table. I'm getting breakfast again. This is dinner right now. It's a strawberry shortcake. Look at this. I just wanted breakfast for dinner. All right, so anyhow, let's get back to it. So now that we are asking the question why is this important, just write every one of those things down for each one of those points, okay? And again, when you are writing these areas down, don't just say money. Like, what amount of money is required to live that amount of life that you want, right? So you want to get very, very specific, okay? So now that you've done all of that, now I want you to go and circle the top 3 areas, like under the be, the do, and the have. And once you circle the top three areas, the ones that resonate with you, the ones that just seem more meaningful, you'll know what it is. Now we're going to take those and almost put in a separate category of its own. Okay? And then now what we're going to do is we're going to bring just clear structure to it. So maybe in the B category, it had, just as an example, use kind of my examples, I want to become an entrepreneur. Okay? So what I'm going to do on that thought is, if that's like the one that I circled, and I can answer the reasons why for that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say what is required in order to achieve this, to get to this place, to become an entrepreneur. And those things for me was conferences, was investing in audiobooks, was investing in trainings and courses, was investing in learning from people, right? And there was a cost associated with that. So what I did is I looked at those areas as far as the education piece, and I just started, putting projections together as far as what amount of money would this require that I need to invest in myself, right? So then from the do area, it was some of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to allow my wife to retire from the job so she could, leave the job. I wanted to travel more, but traveling more is meaningless, and unless you can say how often you want to travel. So I want to travel at least 3 times a year, right? I also wanted to be able to take like martial arts classes and things like that. And I wrote those categories down. And then as far as I think I wrote down, it was a certain amount of money in the bank. It was to have my meals cooked for me. I had a car, a certain specific car that I wanted. And it was like a home gym and stuff like that. So you take all those areas of the materialistic and just say, like, what specific amount of money would this require? And all you're doing here is you're just interrogating your own thoughts and adding specificity to it. It's not enough to say, I want to make more money. How much money do you actually need to live your life? Because what you'll find out is that you may say you wanted to be a billionaire, but based on how you went through this process and wrote down who you wanted to become and what it would require, and the amount of life you wanted to live, as far as how much your house, how much of a home that you have, and the car that you wanted to drive, and what those payments monthly would be, you'll realize that, you know what, I didn't really need that amount of money. I didn't really want a yacht. It just sounds cool because people say you're an all-star, you're a baller if you got a yacht, but I don't really want a yacht. I really don't need a private jet. Like, you'll start realizing what you want. And that's what's most important. That is the aha, the clarity moment that you want to come to. And once you do that, now what you have is you have a clear intention. You have a clear roadmap. You got the raw material. But it's like, what do you do with this raw material? Well, now that you have a game plan, like now that you have this, your roadmap, so to speak, the next step is now to implement a game plan. And all you're going to do is you're going to execute on the things that are required that you just went through, right? What is required to get to your promised land? And now you're going to have an execution plan. You're just going to start going to work. And this is all derived from the most clear and highest and most important place, which is derived from your vision of who you wanted to become, what level of life that you want to live. So when you look at it from 1,000-foot view, this is a very iterative process where you're starting high level with what level of life do I want to live? What does my life look like? And then you're breaking it down to the areas I talked about, be, do, and have. Then you're taking each one of those areas and you're prodding and interrogating those thoughts. And you're just trying to see why or if it is relevant. And then you're taking those areas and now you're going to put those in a cohesive structure. And then now you're going to form a game plan to get to that place. And now you're just going to execute and keep moving. And you're keeping the main thing the main thing. So now you're not going to get distracted. Now you're more intentional on how you move. And it's not all this zigzag because you know where you're going and why. What I just shared with you is exactly what I did to become an entrepreneur and to retire my job at the age of 27 and become a millionaire. This is exactly what I did. And I was able to do it. And what many people would say a fast rate or at a fast pace or whatnot, it's all subjective. But I wholeheartedly know I was able to achieve those things in that amount of time because I was really, really clear. I was clear on what I wanted. I was clear on what it required. I was clear as to what it looked like when I get there. So I only lived in that place. Even when I didn't have the money in my bank account, I knew it's going to be there soon. I know it was just a matter of time because I know every day continues to get better and better. I walk in confidence. I talk in confidence. I live in confidence. And I just kept thinking it and I kept speaking it. I kept dreaming about what my life looked like. I always thought about what I wanted. I lived from that place. I acted from that place. When there was nothing in my bank, when I didn't have any clients, I always envisioned having a lot of clients. I always envisioned having a business that was around the world. I always envisioned just being just financially wealthy, right? And I lived from that place when my reality said otherwise. And see, that's the power of your thinking and being so clear and intentional. So that amount of clarity coupled with intention, with work ethic, and you keeping the main thing, no matter what goes on, what happened, what broke, who didn't do this for you, what relationship went down the drain, you're keeping your main thing on the main thing. All that's going on around me, I just put the blinders on. Anything that was not part of that game plan, I put the blinders on. You understand? So that can only happen if you are clear. Think about putting the coordinates in a GPS or just hopping in the car without putting the coordinates and saying, let's go there. And it's like, where are we going? It's like, we're going somewhere. A lot of people live their life hopping in the car and just going somewhere and being satisfied or unsatisfied when they get to a place that's unfamiliar. Get the GPS and put the coordinates. Get clarity so you know where you're going. You know how long it's going to take you to get there. You know the roads and the stops and the left and rights that you need to take because the coordinates are put in. It's the same thing. Oh, so there's one thing I forgot to share with you. Check this. So do you remember when I mentioned earlier that when I first went to Vegas, we were walking in Caesar's Palace and we seen all those stores that had the higher pricing than normal. And I said, one of these days, I want to shop at one of those places and not worry about the money. Well, guess what? That actually happened. And I'm at the Cosmopolitan and they had these same type of stores and shops. And I went in there and I just had a great time. I got some amazing pieces. I tried on things. I had someone style me for a few outfits. It was so cool. And then check this. So I'm here in a dope clothing store. They got some awesome stuff. And so I'm sitting on this couch and they say, hey, while we put your order together, you can sit on the couch. What do you want to drink? Look at this. All back here, if I zoom in, just bottles of anything. Might as well. So I encourage you to go through this exercise. Just go through it step by step and take your time on it. Don't rush it. And I want you to know that your best is yet to come. Yes, your best is yet to come. You have to believe that. No matter what is going on in your life or what may be going wrong in your life or things that are undesirable, you have to always believe that your future will be brighter than your past. You always got to believe that things are going to continue to get better and better. You got to live in that place. You got to live from your promised land. You got to live from the place that you envision as your promised land, where the sun is shining and you have your beautiful oasis and life is exactly how you desire it to be. That level of life that you desire to live. And just know that. And if you keep that top of mind and keep that intention where it's at, you will quickly see yourself moving in the direction of your goals and your dreams. So you got this, my friend. Love you. Keep on keeping on.